Oh, no! Keep going, Mary! When I played a DVD that had fallen into a gap in the bedroom storage box, what appeared was a video of Mary, a coworker, giving birth to a child. A man was encouraging her as she was pushing during delivery. The voice was familiar to me. What does this mean? I couldn't understand. I knew Mary was pregnant, but why was my husband, Sean, attending her childbirth? I was so shocked I couldn't even move from the spot for a while. How long had I been like that? I'm home. Sean's voice came from the entrance, snapping me back to reality. What's wrong? Why are all the lights off? I got carried away cleaning. Oh, is that so? Don't overdo it, we have our wedding tomorrow. Sean smiled kindly, and I felt a surge of anger toward him. How could he say such things, cheating on me with Mary? Well, I'm going to take a bath. Oblivious, he headed to the bathroom as usual, and seeing him, I clenched my fist tightly. I decided on something and, while he was in the bath, I contacted the friends who were planning to attend our wedding tomorrow and then slipped the DVD I found into my bag. The next day, on the day of our wedding, I was going to knock him down to hell. My name is Daisy Anderson, 29 years old. A housewife, with my wedding planned for next month. I married Sean, who is 3 years older than me, after a workplace romance. Originally, we were co-workers in the same department and hit it off while working on the same project. That led to a relationship and eventually, we got married. We were supposed to hold our wedding soon after our marriage, but we had to postpone the plan due to an epidemic and never happened until now. I had a strong desire to wear a wedding dress, but to Sean, it seemed the wedding was not that important, so it was hard to discuss various things for our wedding. Sean was what you'd call a good-looking guy who was popular at work but quite lax and sloppy in his personal life. Whenever I brought up the wedding, he'd just nod and say, "Yeah, we should think about it later," and brush off the conversation. Before I knew it, 2 years had passed since our marriage. I'll be 30 next year. I wanted to start trying for a baby soon, so after discussing it with Sean, I decided to quit my job. Both preparing for the wedding and trying to get pregnant are not things I should do by myself. Even though I wanted him to cooperate with me, it was difficult to fill the gap in enthusiasm between us. But learning that Sean's parents were looking forward to seeing me in a wedding dress finally got him to budge. I lost my own parents in an accident when I was only a student. So, Sean's parents doted on me like their own daughter, and I loved them a lot. They were also looking forward to their first grandchild. So, as a surprise, revealing my pregnancy on the wedding day would make them even happier, I hoped in my mind. Finally, the wedding date was set, and I had hectic days for preparations, but Sean was not willing to cooperate with me the same as ever. Sean worked, and I was a housewife. I understood I had more time, but I wished he'd offer more input. Sean wasn't very enthusiastic about trying for a baby either. In fact, during a bridal checkup, the doctor suggested he might have azoospermia. My eggs were plentiful and of good quality, but we couldn't conceive despite not using contraception, so the problem seemed to lie with him. The doctor suggested a visit to a major hospital, but Sean just mumbled, "Maybe some other time," and never followed up, as I had thought. Maybe he didn't really want babies? I wanted a child, but maybe Sean didn't feel the same. This thought made it harder to bring up trying for a baby, and our intimate times decreased. In the end, I almost single-handedly finished the wedding preparations. Sean never came even to see me try on dresses, just saying, "You're so beautiful, anything looks nice on you." The wedding planner tried to be kind, saying, "Maybe he's just shy." Many husbands are like that. But I felt Sean was taking it too far. The closer the wedding day got, the more Sean's business trips and overtime increased. I still had things I wanted to talk to him about the ceremony, but I couldn't get him to make time. He said it was a busy period at work, but I remember it wasn't like this when I was there. Well, office tasks change daily, and maybe things have changed since I left. I tried to convince myself of this and reluctantly accepted it. Days flew by, and now, the wedding is tomorrow. I wanted to have a quiet talk with Sean on the eve of the wedding, but he's working late again today. His regular hours are supposed to end at 6 p.m., but he said he's going out for dinner with colleagues due to the overtime. Shouldn't his coworkers be more considerate on the night before someone's wedding? I felt a surge of frustration but swallowed it and told him to be careful on his way home. As the eve of the wedding arrived, there wasn't much left to do. Thinking about cleaning, I decided to tidy up places I usually don't and stepped into the bedroom. Cleaning the floor and changing the bed sheets did refresh my mood. Then, I thought of decluttering the bedroom closet. The bedroom closet was shared with Sean, but since most of my stuff was in the living room storage, about 90% of the closet's content was Sean's. My things were mostly formal wear and dresses I wore to friends' weddings, just special occasion clothes and items. I rarely opened this closet, so I was curious about what was inside, and as expected, it was mostly Sean's belongings. I sorted through, separating my things and deciding what to discard. Then, I found something wedged between storage boxes in the closet. What's this? I picked it up with my fingertips. A CD? No, a DVD? It was an unmarked DVD. It was in a transparent package that looked more like something for home videos from a camera or smartphone rather than a commercial product. Sean isn't really into taking photos or videos. I wondered, puzzled. Curious about the unlabeled DVD, I moved to the living room with the player to check its content. Let's play this. I inserted the DVD into the player and pressed play. The image that appeared was a woman I knew well. We're going to the delivery room now. I'm getting a bit nervous. Mary? It was Mary Parker, my ex-coworker when I worked at the company. She's 2 years younger and had gone on maternity leave just before I quit, announcing her pregnancy. We had kept in touch, even planning to have lunch when things settled down. Mary's belly was large, and seeing the background in the video, she was clearly about to give birth. This was what's known as a birth video. I knew Mary had already given birth, as Sean had told me the company informed him. So this video must be a few months old, but why was it in our bedroom closet? I watched the video, curious about the continuation. The recording seemed long, so I fast-forwarded to see what came next. Finally, Mary was on the delivery bed, about to give birth. Maybe the person holding the camera was her husband, and the video showed Mary reaching out at the camera. Responding, the person, I assumed holding the camera, took her hand. Wait. Something caught my attention, and I paused the video. The man's hand holding Mary's. He was holding the camera with his right hand, so the left was extended. There was a wedding ring shining on the finger, and a wristwatch on the wrist. Both were very familiar to me. That's the same as Sean's. Could this be just a coincidence? Suddenly, my heart pounded painfully. A horrible premonition washed over me, and I felt cold sweat down my back. Why was Mary's birth video in our house? To find the answer, I pressed the play button again. Oh, no! Come on, Mary! A man's voice is encouraging her as she strains. I recognized that voice. Sean! On the screen, Mary is gripping the man's hand tightly. She called him Sean. What does this mean? I couldn't understand. I knew Mary was pregnant, but why was my husband, Sean, at her delivery? Usually, only family members are allowed at birth. I couldn't comprehend why Sean was attending the childbirth of his coworker. While I was stunned, Mary continued to push hard, and soon a healthy cry of "Wah!" could be heard. It's a healthy girl. The doctor, holding the newborn, takes the baby over to Mary, the mother. Here, Dad too. The doctor's cheerful words are followed by a nurse approaching, saying, I'll take over, and the camera shakes. The camera must have been handed over. After a while, the camera, now held again, clearly shows Sean next to Mary, happily looking at the baby. What does this mean? Was Sean having an affair with Mary? And they had a child together, and he attended the birth? I was so shocked, I couldn't move for a while. How long was I like that? I'm home. Sean's voice comes from the entrance, snapping me back to reality. The video had stopped playing automatically, so I hurriedly took the DVD out of the player and stored it in my space in the living room. Oh, hi. What's wrong? Why aren't the lights on? I just got carried away cleaning. Oh, I see. Don't overdo it, we have our wedding tomorrow. Sean's kind smile made anger bubble up inside me. How could he speak sweetly to me like that? I know you've been cheating with Mary. Well, I'm going to take a bath. Oblivious, Sean heads to the bathroom as usual, and seeing him, I clench my fists tightly. I decided on something and, while Sean was in the bath, I contacted friends who were supposed to attend our wedding the next day, and then I sneaked the DVD I found into my bag. And finally, the day of the wedding. Daisy, you look stunning. Darling, you're crying too early. My mother-in-law, with tears in her eyes, looks at me in my wedding dress. She has always doted on me, who has no parents, like her own daughter. My father-in-law was always ready to give advice and support. I felt guilty for betraying them, but I couldn't forgive Sean more than that. Thank you, Susan and Robert. Tears welled up in my eyes too. Knowing this peaceful and kind moment would be the last, I felt incredibly sad and regretful. There are many guests at the wedding. Most of them are Sean's relatives and friends. Since my parents passed away, I have little connection with my relatives. I didn't set up a family table because I don't have relatives close enough to invite, and now I'm glad I didn't. I had invited a few friends of mine, but they aren't here now. I've asked them to do something for me. Sean was worried about no one sitting in the bride's friends' seats, but when I told him it was for a surprise, he said, "What, really?" I'm curious, not knowing he was about to face hell. At the reception, after the toast, Sean's friends and relatives congratulated us one after another. I responded with a thin smile to each, and my phone vibrated on the side. It seems my friends have arrived safely. I approached the host of the reception and borrowed a microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for attending our wedding and reception today. Actually, I have invited a special guest. My words stir the crowd. Actually, my friends have gone to pick up this special guest. Now, please look over there. As I point to the entrance, all eyes in the venue turn there. Sean's gaze follows. The door slowly opens. There stands Mary, brought by my friends. What? Sean gasps in surprise and stands up abruptly. Mary is holding a baby, slightly bigger than in the video. Thinking my special guest was a celebrity, everyone was in confusion, wondering, who is that? Only Sean stares at Mary in confusion, and she looks awkward. Now that our special guest has arrived, I have something I want everyone to see. With that, I take out the DVD I had hidden in my bag and hand it to the venue staff. Asking them to play it, the staff lowered the projection screen and started the video on the projection equipment. We're going to the delivery room now. I'm getting a bit nervous. Oh dear, this is... Sean seemed to realize everything as the video started playing. But I was the one holding the remote to stop it. The video continued, showing Mary entering the delivery room. Oh no! Keep going, Mary! Sean! The child was safely born, and the camera was handed over to the nurse. A two-shot of Mary and Sean in the center of the screen caused a big stir in the hall. What a mess! Sean! What on earth is going on? My mother-in-law's face turned pale, and my father-in-law was furious. As my father-in-law almost lunged at Sean, Sean muttered weakly. Why? I found this in the bedroom yesterday. Do you understand how I felt, finding this on the very eve of our wedding? You didn't have to play it here, at a celebration. A celebration? How am I supposed to celebrate after such a terrible betrayal? As I yelled that, Sean bit his lip hard. By the way, that friend over there is a lawyer. What? You're kidding! The friend who brought Mary was an active lawyer. I had contacted my lawyer friend immediately after finding the DVD. She told me to keep it as crucial evidence and promised to help me fully when I said I intended to expose their infidelity at the reception. This DVD will be kept as important evidence. Mary Parker, the child in this video who has just been born, that's the girl you're holding now, right? At the words of my lawyer friend, Mary seemed to be looking for any excuse but eventually slumped and whispered a small yes. How dare you cheat on Daisy and even have a baby? I did not raise you to be such a pathetic man. My father-in-law, in despair, and my mother-in-law, crying out, were surrounded by relatives comforting them. Sean, the focus of everyone's attention, staggered. As if to deliver the final blow, I presented Sean with divorce. Please, divorce me. Wait, let's talk this through. There's nothing to discuss with you now. I'll make sure you and Mary pay a decent alimony. And you'll cover all the costs of this wedding. How can I? Do you know how much this wedding cost? You ruined it, so of course you should. After my shout, Sean had nothing more to say. Looking at Mary, she was crying, tightly holding her baby. The baby is innocent, but infidelity can't be forgiven. I'll proceed with the rest through my lawyer. With that, I left the venue with my friends. Later, I received a call from my in-laws. They said I might not want to see them anymore, but I loved them, so I agreed to go see them, provided Sean wasn't there. Daisy, I'm so sorry. As soon as she saw me, my mother-in-law burst into tears. I shook my head vigorously and hugged her. This is between Sean and me. You've done nothing wrong. More importantly, I'll never forget how you loved me like your own daughter. I told them firmly, looking into their eyes. This was the undeniable truth, and I didn't want them to misunderstand. Thank you, Daisy. We were truly happy you became our daughter-in-law. My father-in-law patted my shoulder and told me what happened after I left the wedding. We decided to disown Sean. He shamed us in front of the family, and he understands he no longer has a place in the Anderson household. I see. I didn't feel sorry for Sean at all. He was raised by such wonderful parents, yet how could he do such things? I couldn't comprehend. But, well, this is just a wish from us, and you can prioritize your feelings. What is it? Would you live with us? At my father-in-law's words, I was amazed. Then my mother-in-law smiled. You know, if you don't mind, though, Daisy. We want to leave our estate to you. We'd love to become a real family with you. But I ruined the wedding you guys were looking forward to. It's all right. You did the right thing. Tears flowed at their kindness. I promised to contact them once everything was settled and left that day. For the sake of my in-laws, I had to resolve things with Sean quickly. I formally requested my lawyer friend to mediate all communications with Sean. She's an excellent lawyer and quickly began the process. A few days later, she informed me that Sean wanted to meet me. I had no intention of seeing him again, but he was adamant. When I showed reluctance, my lawyer friend said, somewhat exasperated, it seems they're having some trouble too. They refers to Sean and Mary. I had thought Sean would remarry Mary after our divorce. But apparently, it wasn't going to be that straightforward. Resolved, I agreed to meet Sean with my lawyer present. Several days later, I met Sean at my friend's law office, for the first time since the wedding. Despite only a few weeks passing, he looked significantly worn down. Daisy, it's been a while. What do you want to talk about? I urged Sean to get to the point. He hesitated at first, but then began. Actually, something shocking was discovered after that incident. Shocking? Could it be more shocking than what I had been through? As I frowned at Sean playing the victim, he showed me a document. Look at this. What's this? It's a DNA test result. Excuse me? It was the result of a DNA test for Sean and Mary's child. This must be the shocking fact he referred to. It stated a 0% probability of them being parent and child. That child isn't mine. I was deceived by her too. Sean slammed the table, frustrated. Then who's the father? Nothing special, just her husband. I felt dizzy at his words. Right. I was so caught up in my own situation that I forgot Mary was married. So, both Sean and Mary had been cheating. She told me their relationship was almost over. So what? She's still married, huh? I was so frustrated with Sean's attitude, shifting blame onto Mary while he himself had cheated. And to be honest, I had suspected Mary's baby might not be Sean's. Because he was suspected of azoospermia. It's hard to believe only she gets pregnant so luckily. She made me pay child support, using that money for luxury. And after her husband found out and divorced her, she tried using me again. I understand. So? What do you mean by so? We're already divorced. This doesn't involve me, right? I stated this firmly, and Sean looked uncomfortable. He then gently took my hand. Daisy, can we start over? I've realized you're the only one for me. His eyes welled up with tears as he pleaded. Seeing my smile, Sean seemed relieved. There's no way we're starting over. What? I forcefully shook off his relaxed grip. His eyes widened in surprise. Enough. You're just saying things that suit you. You seriously think that kind of talk will fly? You're acting like the victim, but in my eyes, you and Mary are both as bad as each other. I never want to see you again. With that, the meeting ended. I left the rest to my lawyer friend. Sean, completely rejected by me, seemed dejected and quietly accepted the alimony terms. Mary and her husband also got divorced, and naturally, her husband sued them. As a result, both Sean and Mary ended up paying alimony to both me and Mary's husband. The rumors spread quickly through their company, where many of Sean's colleagues had attended the wedding, leaving Sean with no place to belong. However, he couldn't quit due to his alimony obligations and lack of family support, so he continued working there under difficult circumstances. As for me, thanks to the substantial alimony, I could take my time considering re-employment. Moreover, my loving in-laws, who regard me as their true daughter, used nearly all their assets to buy me a luxury apartment. They said it was their inheritance to me, but I felt lonely living alone in such a big apartment, so I invited them to live with me. It's sad what happened between Sean and me, and still lingers the bitterness of being deceived and betrayed by him. But now, living peacefully with my kind and loving in-laws, I feel truly happy from the bottom of my heart.